Nurse J at Nursing the Truth. I hope everyone is having a great Friday. So here I am making another video. I believe it's my third one of 2020. And I've got Sunny at my feet biting her little ring. So she's the little pest. But I'm glad the little pest is back because Nurse J was empty without her little Sunny. So anyway, I did pray to Thoth and the gods, and she did return. So, friends, does it really matter who you pray to if your prayers are answered? So, you be the judge of that. So anyway, as always, God Thoth, God Anubis, Goddess Bastet, Osiris, and Isis, and King Ramesses the Great behind me on the wall. The chakra candles lit, incense of sandalwood going, and I will purify my home with the white sage after these videos. And I am going to have a great year of 2020. So what is Nurse J going to talk about today? Don't you love stories? You know, the little stories that you tell your children, whether it's about Santa Claus or the Easter Bunny or the Tooth Fairy or Jack the Frost when it's real cold outside. Well, it hasn't been too cold here in the deep south. But anyway, what about the Bible stories at church? You know, I've been out of Christianity and the church for over 3 years, and I remember being a little teacher on Sunday school with my husband, and we would tell the stories and we would hand out little sheets and colors and we would talk about all this. But do we ever research history? No. We are creatures of habit. We have been born into the system because our parents were born into the system. So we don't know any better. Our minds are locked down in chains. Our food and water is tainted to make us dumb down. So, wondering minds like myself want to know, what about Cain and Abel? You know, where one brother kills the other and he's pissed off at God because he liked the sacrifice better than he gave him. You know, Sumerian, cuneiform text and or the civilization, they say, is older than Egypt. But at this point, friends, I really don't know. I'm not an archaeologist. But I tend to side with mine, as you can see. But let's just say, for the fact of the video, that the Sumerians were there first. So, where possibly did this story come from? I'm going to tell you. So hold on to your seats. Get a good glass of filtered water or green tea or whatever you'd like. And pull up a chair and take notes, friends. Because I found this a long time ago, but it slipped my mind to bring it to you. And if I've already brought it to you, then I'm sorry. It's time to refresh. This is a new year. Now, on the title, Emesh and Enten, aka Cain and Abel. The writer says, I thought you might find interest in the Sumerian tale of two brothers, Emesh and Enten, being farmer of the gods, Anunnaki. Rather than this story ending with Cain murdering Abel in jealousy, They reconciled, friends. Nobody died in this particular tale. Enten calls the ewe to give birth to the lamb, the goat to give birth to the kid. Cow and calf have calls to multiply. Much fat and milk he calls to be produced. In the plain, the heart of the wild goat, the sheep and the donkey he made to rejoice. The birds of the heaven and the white earth he had them set up their nest. The fish of the sea in the swampland he had them lay their eggs. In the palm grove and vineyard he made to abound honey and wine. The trees wherever planted he caused to bear fruit. The furrows, grain and crops he calls to multiply. Like Ashan, the grain goddess, the kindly maid he calls strength to appear. Emesh brought into existence the trees and the fields. He made wide the stables and the sheepfolds. In the farms he multiplied the produce, and he caused to cover the earth. The abundant harvest he caused to be brought into the houses. He caused the granaries to be heaped high. Emesh apparently felt like his work was more important than Enten's, and that he should be given the title of farmer of the gods, and became irreverent, which is why Emesh's offering to the gods was rejected. Enlil is the air god who caused the good day to come forth, developed the notion that the earth should bring forth seed and be prosperous. He fashioned the prototype agricultural implements, the pickaxe and the plow. Enki, the water god, Jesus, who organized the earth and decreed the fates of Sumer, Ur, and Maluha. Ashan is the grain goddess, and Laha is the cattle god, sent from heaven to earth to make abundant its cattle and grain. In the Sumerian culture, you can find pictures of Enlil giving the human the plow. This was after the flood. He was pissed off. He didn't want the humans to live. But after him and Enki reconciled, he said, well, they got to start over, and I'm going to give them the plow. Now, Enlil answers Emesh and Enten. The life-producing water of all the lands, Enten is its knower. As farmer of the gods, he has produced everything. Emesh, my son, how dost thou compare thyself with Enten, thy brother? The word exalted of Enlil, whose meaning is profound. The decision is taken, is unalterable. Who dares transgress it? Oh, don't talk back to Enlil. He'll put you in your place. Emesh bent the knees before Enten, and to his house he brought the wine of the grape and the date. Emesh presents Enten with gold, silver, and lapis lazuli. In brotherhood and friendship, happily they pour out libations. Together they act wisely, and well they determined. In the struggle between Emesh and Enten, the steadfast farmer of the gods, having proved greater than Emesh. O Father, Enlil, praise. That really is amazing, isn't it? How you have the two brothers, Cain and Abel. One is working by the sweat of the brow, and he's planting the seeds. And then you have one that is raising the animals. The God doesn't like the little seed thing. He likes the sacrifice of the animal and the blood and the smell of it. Wow, these writers are going off. What have they been smoking today? Who knows what psychedelics or mushrooms they were using. Now, let's go to another story that could be comparable to that one as well. You decide what story they used in replacement of the KJV. Now, I love Thomas Paine. Thomas Paine wrote the book Age of Reason. He was one of the great leaders of the United States in the beginning. And he wasn't going for all this nonsense. He was a free thinker. He was scientific. And the reason why I'm looking back is this dog is trying to eat my Egyptian stuff. Anyway, Sonny, stop it. So, he wrote that the Cain was the elder brother and Abel the younger, and Cain killed Abel. The Egyptian story. You see, the Septuagint was written by Hellenistic Jews in Alexandria, Egypt. Hello, don't you think they had the stories of the Egyptian legends? Because Greek conquered Egypt, and they had all this in the Library of Alexandria. Moving on. And in the Egyptian story, Typhon and Osiris are brothers. Typhon is the elder and Osiris the younger. And Typhon kills Osiris. Is this Enki and Enlil? Oh, it possibly could be. But you know how that goes. And this dog just bit me and I'm going to knock her out. No, stop it. Sorry about that. So this story is also an allegory of dark and light. Set, Typhon, and Osiris. Osiris is the good light who brings forth the fruit and is the favorite. And Abel is said to have been for which Typhon hates him. And when winter comes, the cold and darkness overspread the earth, and Typhon is represented as having killing Osiris in malice, as Cain is said to have killed Abel. Now, the two stories are alike in their circumstances and their event, and are probably but the same story. What corroborates this opinion is that the 5th chapter of Genesis historically contradicts the reality of the story of Cain and Abel in the 4th chapter. For though the name of Seth, a son of Adam, is mentioned in the 4th chapter, he is spoken of in the 5th chapter as if he was the firstborn of Adam. In the book of the generations of Adam, in the day that God created man, in the likeness of God created he him. Male and female created he them, and blessed them, and called their name Adam, in the day when they were created. And Adam lived 130 years and begat a son in his own likeness, after his own image, and called his name Seth. So, how do you like that, friends? As a quick little video. So now what do we do, children of the light? Do we now start looking at things in a better and a bigger light? Do we actually start going through ancient documents and mythos and sit our children down and compare? I think what we need to do is homework, friends. Homework that unlocks the brain, where we can start putting the pieces together. Sit down your Egyptian, Sumerian, Greek, Roman, Indian, Zoroastrian stories. They're one and the same. Different names. But which one is the first? Which one did they all copy from? You see, I think it is imperative that today, in this time that we're in now, we need to take our children and have a very serious talk with them and sit down and explain the true history of the church. The true history of the biblical stories. The true history of where this was written and who wrote it. These are Hellenized Jews. These are Greek-speaking Hellenized Jews. They have no problem with stories. They have no problem in writing. There's even a problem about where the Jews came from, and that's another video. Because Josephus can't even get his stuff right. Because he's a liar. But anyway. So, friends, do Nurse J a favor. Or why don't you do yourself a favor and start researching very heavily into the books, the scriptures, the myths, the legends, the hearsays, the whatevers. And you will find, friends, that this is the delusion that has been given to us. And the Lord said, I will send a strong delusion. Really? You mean Rome sent a strong delusion, friends? The Roman Empire sent a strong delusion and was behind the writings and was laughing all the way to the bank. Until next time, Hotep and Ashe, and give reverence to the gods. Until next time, friends, when you search for the truth and you find the truth, then the truth shall set you free. Goodbye.